So, that bike. You know the one. The Metroid bike. Viola, however you'd prefer to say it, till we have a sort on its pronunciation. Maybe it's voila? By the way, I know I'm a few weeks late on this subject, but I'm glad that I now have my thoughts together and I'm able to share this properly and really have an opinion. Let me begin by saying I am skeptical. I'm not wholly on board, if you catch my drift. I'm not wholly against it either, though, so don't worry. I first saw it during the Direct live. As the trailer began, I felt like it looked somewhat like Prime 4, but I couldn't be sure until Samus was actually shown mounting the thing. Understandably so, I think, as we have never had vehicles in Metroid games, at least not pilotable. Not even the gunship. Memories of what we could do with the gunship in Prime 3 are not favorable in my opinion either. There we have something so contemporary looking. It pulled me out of the trailer, so much so that when the release date finally showed at the end, I wasn't even feeling excited. Now I think I've come out of that slightly, or I wouldn't even be putting a video out, of course. The bike itself looks fine enough for what it is. It, of course, matches Samus's suit and appears to have the same name. I'm led to believe abilities will be tied between the two, as most people would agree. The question is how significant those abilities will be. Are they only for traversal? Maybe combat? My hope is that we won't have to use it after reaching new areas. That is, if this desert is some sort of hub connecting different biomes. I could see the bike being used in a short, loading cutscene for fast travel. In this way, the bike doesn't bother me much. Then they showed the lock-on to the enemies. It just looked too standard, like the way combat in other games looks. And the way the enemies keep pace with her. Did she just drift attack them? Oh no. It's just a totally different game. It isn't like some new abilities that change the pace of a game or adds a new layer to combat. I guess I have a little idea of how fans of Super Metroid felt when Prime was shown to be first person. Okay, so rewatching it now isn't so bad, and I acknowledge it may very well be very fun. I'm big on movement and flow in games, so for now I will assume the bike controls are passable at worst. And that brings me to my real concern. The overall pace and flow of the game. As I play through it in first person, and also Morph Ball, having a good time in these familiar modes, will I reach bike sections with dread in repeat playthroughs? Will it kill my desire to even replay the game at all? One of the greatest strengths of the Metroid series is replayability. If there are long sections of gameplay that I don't look forward to, or even hate, it really hurts. Think of Meridia in Super Metroid, which I don't mind, by the way. The Zero Suit stealth section of Zero Mission. I don't like that one. All of Other M. Okay, so it isn't totally fair of me to say that about Other M, as I have not played through it just yet. You get my point, though. Hopefully the bike section is short or largely optional in Prime 4. Okay, now let's think of some positive potential for Viola. First off, if I continue my line of thought from before, this could greatly improve pace and flow. It certainly is possible. If it takes a bit of skill to be proficient while having that effortless feeling at the same time, where you act and react naturally, I think it could work. I assume we won't be practicing and memorizing tracks like a racing game, so it doesn't feel likely to me. Another potential, though, is to have multiple vehicles, whether they are standalone or all transform from the bike. If there are multiple vehicles, I think in the endgame they could all combine to take on the final boss. Voila! I think this is unlikely though, as it would probably not feel very much like Metroid. I think a transforming vehicle is more likely, and I think the whole purpose of revealing the bike was to prime us for more. Similar to the reveal of DK Bonanza's first few, but not all, of his forms before that game released. The final potential positive possibility I can think of is bringing world cohesion. I know many people don't like the elevators of Prime 1 and 2. I don't personally mind them whatsoever. However, I do understand that people get into the lore and want the world to feel cohesive and believable, as in the proximity of locations to one another, even though, sci-fi, also alien planets, and also they aren't that unrealistic necessarily. I mean, you think about something like Magmore being open volcanic caverns, but they're far below the ruins and even further below the snow. And it could all be on a mountain, and I could explain more, but it's off the topic of this video. Anyway, the bike might be a way to move between biomes in what seems to be a much flatter world to explore than Talon 4 was. In the end, I guess I just have to settle down and not worry. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is coming December 4th this year. It's a Metroid game. It's the fourth in a series that begins with my favorite game ever. That means it has a lot to live up to, in my opinion. But there's a lot of distance between the original Prime and this newest one. The two main games between, and several spin-offs. More than that though, 23 years. I think that means major changes were bound to happen sometime. The development team is probably largely different. I hope they lean into their strengths instead of strictly following what the past games did. Of course, they have to draw from the past to some extent, or it may as well be a different game altogether. But if they make a good Prime game, and this bike is a part of that, then that will be the best we can ask for. It might even have a good impact and be just what we didn't know we needed. Well, those are my thoughts on the bike in Metroid Prime 4 so far. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in a comment. Like the video to let me know how I'm doing, and I hope and pray God blesses you today. Thanks for watching.